So is it alright if we make a start? Okay. So we'll just try to make it very informal kind of thing because the audience are only three. Today I wanted to do on this confidence and self-esteem. The reason why I'm doing this presentation today is, I'm also a college tutor as well as a mentor. So yesterday, one of the trainees, resident, I'm not going to name it, but she said that she was very good in her practice, but she failed her task. And one of the things I've realized was she didn't have the confidence. So confidence even if you're competent, if you don't have the confidence, you're not going to go too far. Yeah. So the presentation is very short and brief, but before that, there are a couple of things that I want to ask you, and just to make this session interactive. It will be very boring if I just read whatever is there. Yeah. So what are you guys understanding about confidence?
Like how comfortable you are, expressing yourself and putting yourself out there.
Okay. So do you guys think you're confident?
What do
Do you guys think yourself to be a confident person?
I think confidence depends on where we are and what we are doing. So sometimes maybe at home we might be like a confident mother or confident wife or something, but maybe at work. So it would depend on
the circumstances.
And depend circumstances and depend on our kind of mental state on the day as well. So some days we will feel absolutely confident with things, but some days
So there are a lot of external and internal factors that okay. Now in order to understand confidence, there's another term called competent. Are they same or different?
different?
What's the difference between competent and confident?
So competent is actually proof that you can do something well. Whereas confidence is you believe that you can do it well.
So you use a very good term, believe. Okay. So what is the difference between believe and know? Are they same or different?
believe and
No, I know, or I believe. Are they same or different?
maybe I believe has little bit more of belief in it, or the I know what we just saying, but when we say I believe, there is more kind of conviction.
Yeah. Like for example, you can say I know my parents. I know my parent. I know my partner. Can you see I believe my parent? I believe my partner. Can you see the difference? I believe God. I know God. So belief comes with more like a conviction and like a firm belief. Knowing means know the facts. So belief goes more than knowing something. Does that make sense?
I would have thought the other way, because I feel like belief is a bit more vague or
But vague.
Yeah, a bit more abstract. I believe that. Whereas I know is I know that thing.
Yeah. But
no behind
no has got a limitation.
Yeah.
Belief doesn't have a limitation.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now coming to this topic of confidence and competent. Okay. The difference between them is called delusion. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So for that, one of the things that I found it interesting is if you have like this. Okay. This is confident. This is competent. Okay. We need to have a balance of both the confidence and competent in the middle. Okay. If you have got only confidence but doubtful on the competence, then you have got something called imposter syndrome. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But if you have got too much of competent but not confidence, then you have got something called quarterback syndrome. That means that you know what you are supposed to do, but you cannot execute it because you don't have the confidence. So competent, it comes with training. It comes with accountability and responsibility. Now you guys are F1, you are a CT3. Now every time when you have got this portfolio or an assessment, what are they checking? They are checking your competence. Are you at the level of F1 to go to F2? Do you have the competence? In order to check the competence, they check evidence. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now with the confidence, you can even have confidence without commitment. Does that make sense? Okay. Do you agree with that or not? But what happens if you only have confidence but don't have competence?
It won't last long.
Okay, like for you to be a CT3, okay, you had years of training and competence. So you feel as competent at the level of CT3. But if I ask you to be an ST6, would you have competent?
No. And I won't be confident as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
maybe some people can be confident even at the CT3 level.
Yeah. But
without the competency.
without the confidence. And with that it comes overconfidence. And there's a risk of doing mistakes. Does that make sense? So both of them needs to be balanced out. Yeah. So I've quickly discussed about confidence. Yeah. In order to understand confidence, you also need to have a self-esteem. Okay. Now the self-esteem is more to do with your belief. Okay. Belief and a conviction of what you think. And self-esteem, it comes with your thought process, what you think about yourself, what you believe, and how you act. Does that make sense? Self-esteem. Okay. So this is a very simple example. In self-esteem, you feel like I'm worthy. Confidence, I can do it. Yeah. So as I described, there's now a trap between confidence and competence. You need to balance it out. Yeah. Now in self-esteem is, when you look at the mirror, you not only see your physical thing. Okay. There's one more thing what you see, which you don't see in the mirror. Any guesses?
Are you thinking of spiritual level of thinking?
Yeah.
There is some soul inside. Is that?
No. That's a different thing. That's way beyond.
Yeah.
It also depends not only on the way you see yourself, it's also about what you think about yourself. Does that make sense? There was an interesting study which was done in US, okay, and it's a true story. I'm not faking it out. Yeah. So what they did was, in the SAT result before they go to college and university, they give the scoring system. And in US, when they do a SAT system, they give in percentile. Percentile of how much percentile. And people who score more than 90 or 95, they get the college of their dreams and wishes. So there was one student who got 98 percentile. But when he looked at the result, he mistook percentile for IQ.
Oh.
Does that make sense? So for IQ, 100% IQ means for age, 100 is like the normal that you think. But he mistook it and thought that his IQ is less than 98. And he failed in all of his semester. Okay? And the teacher were not able to understand, what the hell happened to him. He was a bright student. He got all the A star. Now he is, failing in all the exam. So when they had a counseling, they found out that the guy thought his IQ was less than 100. Because of this, he's not, intelligent. He doesn't have the confidence. And he didn't push himself. But once they explained him it's a percentile, it's not a percentage, then he was in the top 10 in the university. Does that make sense? So it's not just about how you see in the mirror, it also depends on how you think of yourself. Okay? So the same conversation I was having with this resident doctor. Okay? The thing is, she thought that she was not a deserving candidate. She thought that, there are other candidates in the exam who can outperform or can do better than her. Okay. So in her image, she is already putting herself down. So she is not able to perform as she was capable of performing. Does that make sense? Yeah. You are letting yourself doubt, creep to not, fully do as per your limitation. Okay. So with the self-esteem, you need internal validation. Not just the out validation. You need to validate yourself that you deserve it. Yeah. And keep in mind, as you said, it depends on a lot of factors like environment factors and a lot of these factors. But keep in mind, you cannot control the outward environment, but you can control the inward environment. Okay. So this is one thing that you need to be aware of self-esteem when you are looking at self-esteem. Without having a better self-esteem, you're not going to have a good confidence. Always keep that in mind. Yeah.
For this concept, I've heard something called like a it was called a scar experiment.
Yeah.
So half of the people, they did a scar and showed it in the mirror that you have a scar on your face. But then they said, oh, I'm gonna touch on the scar again, and they actually removed the scar.
Yeah.
But they went to interaction with other people, believing that they have the scar on this face.
Yeah.
And then they reported that, because of this scar, they felt less confident, less self-esteem. So they felt others are judging them and others are being rude to them and all. But actually, there wasn't any scar. So it's basically how we believe. We think about ourselves.
So that is looking for external validation. So we have got two focus, internal and external. We need to balance it out. Okay. Now with the confidence, keep in mind that we are not good in all the areas of our life. We have to accept that. Okay. And I think last time I've explained to you about our human evolution. Human evolution, there are different phases. Why do you think that all of us are different? Why are we not same? Genetics and for survival. Okay. For example, we need some people to be explorer. We need some people to have emotional intelligence, someone to have IQ and different. That's the only reason why the society thrives. Yeah, we need people of different. So the first and the foremost thing, in order to know the confidence, we need to explore also what we are good at and what we are not good at. Okay, and also look at what makes us happy in doing things. Imagine, Messi, who plays a very good football. If his parents pressurize him to be a doctor, do you think he can be a doctor? Or ask him to play NBA, whose Messi is like 5'6" like me, to go in NBA and to be an NBA player. Okay, it's not possible. It is possible. It can be possible, but the chances are less. The probability are less. Okay, and the evidence is based on the past performance that we have done. Okay, because the past performance gives you an indication what are the things that you are good at, what are the things you are not good at. Okay, and you can only find out by doing trial and error. Like I like to play guitar, but I went almost like 10 or 15 lessons and I could not play a guitar, and I accepted, I'm bullshitting guitar. Yeah, and keep in mind, confidence, it only comes by doing things. It doesn't come automatically. It's not like you sleep at night time and tomorrow you wake up being confident. Okay, it needs action. Now the critical difference between self-esteem and confidence is self-esteem, you need to know who you are. Yeah, feel like peace, and you also need to have a bit of calmness within you. It comes with experience, practice. Self-compassion. Why do we need to have self-compassion?
Be kind to ourselves.
Kind to yourself. Yeah.
So that when
in life everybody fails. There's no one in the world that have succeeded in everything. Even if they have succeeded, what will happen? I've seen a lot of patients who are very high flyer, never failed. All of a sudden they failed. What happens to them? Breakdown. I had a patient, a few patients who committed suicide. It happens, because they think in a black and white kind of thing. Okay, so certain failures is also needed for us to stand up. Yeah, and destroyed by sin. Okay, so we need to be aware of all of this thing to have some reality-based check. Yeah. Now the confidence is more about what you can do, feeling powerful. Reputation is needed for confidence, and confidence goes if you don't practice. Is it true? So I always say in my memory, I tend to do memory planning. I always say, if you don't use it, you lose it. Okay. Imagine if you don't use your hand for a year, this hand will not work. Okay. And interestingly, when I do my memory clinic, I've got a few patients who says whose first language is not English, and they said that during the COVID they didn't work, and all of a sudden they cannot speak English. I've got dementia. What do you think? Is it because of dementia they could not speak English? It's because of not using it. Okay, so you need to use it. Any question on this one? Yeah. Now, how to build confidence? So it's always a loop. Small action, get better, feel confident, and do it. Okay. But keep in mind, it doesn't work backward. Start small, feel confident, get better. So this is like a cycle. You just need to go on and on and on. Okay. Now, in order to build confidence, do you guys go to gym, do some exercise? If I ask you to pay like 50 or 60 kg all of a sudden, you might struggle. But you can only do it by increasing gradual tension. Yeah. And the other important thing which I've also found very helpful is whenever you succeed by doing small thing, also record it. Write in a diary that I've succeeded it. So at least that becomes a benchmark. So I'll give you this example that in 2020, I think I've shared that with you. I was 120 kg overweight. Now I'm 78, 74. Okay. At that time I could not run. Yeah. I started with like a 50 meter, this and that. So gradually I built up. Last year I did 100 km run, and I've done 13 marathon, 42 half marathon, and 62 10k, and I just did 10 km this Sunday, mostly. So this all builds up, compounding kind of thing. Now, how to build up self-esteem? To build up self-esteem, you need to be very careful in the words that you use. Words become reality. Do you agree with that? If you say you are stupid, your brain will believe you are stupid. Okay? So you need to be careful in the words that you use. Even if the negative thoughts come, if one negative thoughts come, replace it by 2 or 3 positive words in order to change the framework of your thought process. Okay? Whatever you believe, your brain will accept it and change the reality. Yeah? So avoid using I'm stupid. Yeah? I think Manisha asked me last time, how do you feel confident being a consultant or this and that? Okay? Because in my mind, I'm the best consultant. There's no any consultant better than me. I'm the best. But there's a difference between narcissistic and having delusion and having the confidence. The difference is, in confidence, you know your strength, you know your limitation. Where narcissistic, you only know your strength and ignore your weak point. Okay? And in narcissistic, with every one of us, we always have got a blind spot. Do you agree? There are certain things we are not aware of our weakness. So for that, we always need to have feedback. And we need to be, accepting to hear critical, criticism. Take it. Okay? And by doing that, and by doing more, putting yourself on the spot, you get a chance to enhance your skill. Yeah? So I gave an example to the resident doctor. Okay? You have failed this exam, but you can also think in the other way around and think, okay, you didn't fail the exam, you gave an expansive mock. Expansive mock in the sense that you went to the real exam scenario, you gave it, so you have got additional information for the next exam. Does it make sense? You got an opportunity to have the real experience in the real kind of setting, so you have got an experience now. So that is always a positive. Rather than not having an experience, to have an experience to going to the second battle is always a positive sign. Does it make sense? So in the next time when she gave an exam, I said to her, okay, I've already passed the exam. I'm just coming to this exam center to show you all the guys how the exam needs to be done. Okay, and I'm going to show you and feel privileged that I've come to you to show how the exam is done. So if you have that mentality, then nothing can stop you. Okay, so it depends on how you frame it and how you see it. Okay, any question on this one? Self-esteem. Now for self-esteem, one of the exercises which I found it very helpful is documenting. Okay, documenting, like for example, I've got 3 diaries here, 1 diary, up 1 diary, in home 1 diary, and wall or diary. So I put a log of all the things which I've done in the last 5 years, So I can even trace on what are the things that I've done yesterday, the day before. So I make a rule of, for example, even in the short things that flush your teeth, made a bed. So the first thing when I wake up from my bed, I make sure my eye are in the bed. Why?
It's first win of the day.
When I go back to sleep, I know my bed is ready. Does it make sense? So the first thing whenever I do, my mind is already starting in the plus side. Imagine if I just left the bed like that. Night time I'm going, the bed is all messed up. Yeah. Um, and the thing is, now I replace, the substitution is also very important. Okay. But now instead of coffee, I have water. Yeah. And write it. And the other thing is, you need to trust yourself, brain. And one of the things which I've also seen is quite interesting is, when you do things, it's not guaranteed that everything turns out as you imagine. Do you believe on that? Something will happen, some stupid things will happen. But you need to say to yourself, whatever the shit happens, I'm able to deal with it. Okay? Because I've got the power to deal with it. So if you have got that mentality, you can adapt and have some agility to deal with any kind of scenario. Do you agree? Okay? And always have an openness. Even the things that you have done better, there's always a chance of doing that much better. Okay? So analysis and reflections is very important. So you guys must have realized as an F1, and you as a CT3, we as a supervisor, we advocate on supervision and reflection. Why?
To improve.
Improve, reflect. And reflection, what are the things that you have done? What are the things that you could have done better? What feedback you have got from other people? And what are you going to do next? Okay, so the cycle needs to repeat every time in order to get better. Yeah. Now, this is one of the things that will prevent you from being confident in self. Comparison. Right? When you comparison, now with the social media, it's very easy to compare with Instagram, promotion, perfect hair, all of this in the social media. Now, down on this, keep in mind that if you really want to find out, you will always find someone who is better than you. Do you agree with that or not? You are not like a god or something. You will always find someone better. Yeah. Comparing your behind the scene, this is the thing. If you want to have mental health problem, comparison. Compare yourself, and you will get frustrated. You will cry, and unrealistic expectation, and you will get in a trap of this. The person you need to compare is who? Yourself. Okay. So what I tend to do is when I go to bed, I always give a benchmark for the person who's waking up tomorrow. This is the benchmark for you to get better. Okay. So by competing with yourself, you tend to get better in everything that you do. Okay. In summary, okay, this is some of the confidence and self-esteem. Okay. It's not possible to have everything, to be confident and competent every time. But at least you need to make an effort to do it. Yeah. The take-home message is do one thing and stop doing multitask. We feel that we can do a lot of multitask. We can listen to music, we can cook, we can talk to someone, but we can do it. But keep in mind, we are not able to do with 100% focus, and effectiveness decreases on that. Okay. And this is one of the exercises that I would advise you guys to do. Before you go to bed, look at the mirror and tell to yourself that the things that you want, okay, have this kind of manifestation and this and that. Because the minute you go to bed, the brain goes into reset mode. So it helps to relax, and so in the morning, your brain is already, ready to deal with the world. Okay. So this is everything about confidence, self-esteem, and competence. Any question? Yeah. So, Manisha, what are you planning to do to be confident and competent?
So for competence, we need to, so wherever we feel we are lacking, so it is at work to read more and improve knowledge.
Yeah.
For confidence, I think what I got is that, like build on things. So even if we are doing like a small thing, so rather than just fixing everything altogether, like count our wins every day and then build on that. And also be aware of the stories we are telling to ourselves.
Stories are very important.
Yes.
And just to add to this, anything you do is how you do everything. Okay? Don't ignore even the small things. This is how you do. Example, as an F1, you guys are doing. If you don't correct those things, when you become a senior, you are also doing the same thing, which you think it might be perfect, but you might be doing that wrong. Okay? So always adapt and change. Yeah, this is how you grow. What happens if you cannot adapt or change?
like you just get stuck and you'll fail.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, in 2000, have you heard about Blockbuster
Yeah.
cassettes and CDs? Okay, and then some people suggested, okay, why don't we put all of the cassettes in online and do a business? Okay, so guys from Netflix went to Blockbuster. Blockbuster said, you guys are stupid. We have got a thriving business. Why the hell we want to partner with you? What happened to Blockbuster? You know, Netflix have taken. Doesn't make sense because the world adapt and this and that. Have you heard about Panasonic? Do we hear any Panasonic now? Samsung,
What have they done?
Sony. Panasonic used to be a best television
Oh.
set. So now we don't hear about Panasonic. Samsung has taken. Okay. So renovations and this, it tends to come. Now our competitor is AI. You know, some of the jobs are taken by AI. Okay. Now I think Christina is also aware that we are forced to use Heidi or all of this AI to document. You put a Heidi and they take the notes now. Yeah. So we also need to be aware of the current trends that has been going on. Some of the job in radiology will be taken because the AI are better able to interpret the result. Some of the pathology they can do better job than a consultant. Okay. And surgical, some of the robotics, they have started to do an operation, all of these things. So as an junior doctor, you guys need to be aware of the changing trend and adapt with it with confidence, self-esteem, and competence. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm done. Any question?